Fiancée cheated and dumped me because I put all of my money into Bitcoin back in 2013. So, I was hanging out with a friend when the subject arrived at my ex-fiancée. Then I realized this history was too juicy to not be shared. So, back in the day, I started buying Bitcoin. I wasn't a serious buyer, I just thought it was a neat thing. I had just proposed to my ex, and things were pretty good. I started learning more about the whole concept of a decentralized currency, how modern banking is destroying the economy and government-produced currencies have been melting through the years. It just made so much sense, so I started seriously buying more. At first, my ex didn't mind, she used to make condescending comments about me buying monopoly money, and how stupid it sounded. Things started to go sour when I told her, all my savings were now in Bitcoin. She was livid, called me an immature, irresponsible man-child. How dare I put our future together in jeopardy buying stupid things? I tried to explain to her many times the concepts behind it and how a currency that is deflationary by default had to increase its value. She didn't bought any of it, always with condescending comments about my cognitive abilities. I reminded her that it were my savings on the line, I would never demand or ask for her to invest in something she wasn't comfortable with. She argued that it didn't matter, the money was mine, we were starting a future together and I had to consider our financial security before putting all my money in stupid things. We were never the same after that fight. After that, maybe a bit out of spite, I doubled down on Bitcoin. I sold my car and bought more. I was overweight and lost 25 pounds biking to work. We started to resent each other more day after day. About a year after the big fight, I discovered she was ducking a co-worker of hers, a shoulder to cry on became a DK to ride on. After a nasty fight, she took the ring off, threw it at me, saying, "I hope when you're bankrupt and alone you finally realize how stupid you are." She started dating the co-worker not long after. Her family sided with her and all hate my guts. Those were tough times, the price kept going down, I doubted myself many times but I held on. Needless to say, my investment paid off. After the first surge, I sold some of it, made profit over my initial investment and kept some and then bought back when it hit 5k. I won't go into details about my finances, but let's just say I don't really have to worry about money anymore. My ex became just a distant memory after so much happened. Last week, I met an old friend that used to live abroad, he is a common friend of me and my ex. We had a good time catching up until the topic became my ex. Apparently, she married that co-worker, had a couple of kids and was living the life she thought impossible with me. Good for her, I thought. Well, that was the case until her husband's business went under because of COVID and she found out about his affair with a 20-year-old sugar baby. Now they're amidst a nasty divorce procedure and financial trouble. I would be lying if I say I don't feel just a bit happy about her demise. It is the cherry on top of my whole story, it just makes it too juicy not to share. I'm thinking about sending her a Christmas card this year. Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, skip the Christmas card and keep it classy. Living well is the best revenge and you're already doing it. Redditor 2, I mean, it is kinda dumb to invest all your savings in one thing, that's why people diversify. Redditor follow-up, yeah, I can kinda see why she was upset. Even though it's not her money, it showed a side of him that was impulsive and irresponsible, which is concerning for someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. That said, she still shouldn't have cheated. Glad it all worked out for Op, though. I've made some money myself in Bitcoin, so I'm not knocking it. I just wouldn't invest my entire savings in it or any other single investment. Redditor 3, I agree with what you said about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency and governmental currencies. However, I have to also agree with your ex-fiancée that putting all of your money into the same pool is kind of risky. It's basically an all or nothing gamble. That's not a bad thing if you are not risk averse. Your ex, however, apparently was rather risk averse, which made you two incompatible. It's for both of your benefit that this came out sooner rather than later after a wedding, with her getting half of your Bitcoin turnover. Redditor 4, I mean honestly I'm happy it turned out good for you, but I would have been devastated if my long-term partner invested 100% of his savings into one high-risk asset. Story 2, my GF cheated on me and was with me only for my money. 18 years ago 2002 my older brother and I got my first job at age 12 and 13. Normally child labor laws would come in play, but it was a volunteer gig for selling soda at a stadium, so the laws weren't valid. I was 4 feet tall, short for my age, and carrying 16 cups of soda in a rack, and a lot of people in the stadium were buying from me cause they thought I was cute being a big man for my age. Selling at least 8 racks a game, I was making at least $150 in tips and commission, but my bro who worked with me had us combine and split our earnings, so I was getting screwed until I said I didn't want to anymore. Fast forward 2 games and I was still bringing home $150 plus, and to me I felt like I was an adult bringing home bank after only 3 hours of work. I would walk to the little store in my town and buy pizza and sodas cause that was a king's meal back then. I thought lol. It was then I met my ex-GF Shelly, name change, and we hooked up after walking together for a week and got to know each other and she kissed my cheek. I was love struck. Damn you Cupid. We were together for a month, hung out, fished, biked and other things together, and back then money was tight for my parents, so they would borrow $1 for gas, which my brother and I were happy to do since we were making a lot. However, I started seeing I was missing more and more, and I asked my parents if they took any more and they didn't. They blamed my brother and tried to punish him, but I stopped them because I was the faff cause I was in a car accident 6 years prior and I lost my 4-year-old brother. I was 6 and as a result they were overprotective of me. My friend C-Dog nickname was my only guy friend in the neighborhood cause we attended different schools, and the week before I had gotten my black belt and one day bullies had grabbed him and hurt him in front of me and I fought the leader off even though I was so short and they were 2 grades older than me. He had a broken ankle and sprained wrist, but they never bothered him again after I RHK roundhouse kicked the bully in the face and scared the others off. Thank you Walker Texas Ranger. The next day C-Dog told me Shelly was cheating on me, and was probably the one who is stealing my hard-earned money. At first I didn't believe him, but I saved his BTT and he had no reason to lie, so I asked for proof. He took me to the top of the hill that overlooks the park where I fought the bullies, and with high-powered binoculars I saw her there with her BF kissing her real BF and eating food paid for with my money. To say I was upset would be accurate for a 12-year-old, but this just proved she was cheating on me, not stealing. So the following Sunday after Thanksgiving I set a trap. We had walked together and I asked her if there were guys at school she liked, and she kissed my cheek again and said, "You're the only one I really like and who's nice to me. Yeah, nice to let me steal from you," I thought. We walked to my home just before it started to pour hard outside and watched some gargoyles when she started to hold my hand and I said I had to go to the bathroom, and I set my wallet on my nightstand, all $260 in it that I made from the day before. Fans were very thankful, generous. I walk out and leave the door open a crack, walk to the bathroom 5 steps away and closed the door, counted to 3 and tiptoed back, peeked through the crack and saw Shelly going through my wallet grabbing the $50 and $20 bills I had. I opened the door before she was about to pocket it and said, "Lord Raiden style, I don't think so, ha ha ha. Then with an angry face, I took the money from her, and while she tried to explain, I walked her by hand to the front door, opened it and pushed her gently out in the pouring rain. She asked me if she could at least call her parents since she lived over a mile away, and I said no. You stole over $130 from me the last month we were together. You can walk home, and slammed the door on her. Some of her friends had heard about what I did, and when asked I told them she was playing me and using me for my dollar. They knew she had borrowed money from them and had not paid them back, but lately had done so obviously with my own dollar, and they tried to give it back, and I said no, that I didn't want to take from them. Even if the money belongs to me, they need it more. Her friends didn't talk to her again. Her BF left her, and my parents never found out till a month later, but in the end I won. Poor Talatly. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, great solution for 12. Also good for you not letting her off. Op answer, lol yeah, well I didn't have a cell phone at the time, but if I did I'd have posted that beauty on FB, but that didn't exist either. Thanks for being the first to comment on my first ever post. It's nice to know someone read about what happened to me. Redditor 2, man I'd have been ducking pissed. Op answer, man that's how I felt the day before when I saw her through the binoculars, having to keep a straight face all the while we were hanging out. That stormy day was a real challenge, but I pulled it off because I wanted to out her as both a cheater and a thief, and that's what happened, and I let it all out when I pushed her out the door in the pouring rain.